Welcome to the Connect Like Minds podcast. I'm the host, Sharice. I interview people making a difference in their communities and in their creative spaces. Today's special guest is an author, a therapist, and the co host of the John A podcast. Welcome to the Connect Like Minds podcast, Shellih.
Yay. Hey, everyone. I am happy to be here. Um, Connect Like Minds is one of my favorite podcasts. So I'm happy to
Thank
be on the
you.
other side of being interviewed, in opposed to watching. So
Yeah.
thank you
And this
for
is
having
your second
me.
time on.
It
So I'm
is.
excited about that. Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes.
All right. As you know, we're going to jump right into the interview, but we're going to go from the beginning only because, like, you're here, talking about your own life aside,
Right. Yes.
from everything else. So, could you please tell everyone where you're from?
I am from born and raised Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, West Philadelphia to be exact. But currently living, I say Atlanta, but I'm not
Hmm.
in Atlanta. Atlanta be having a lot going
They do. Yo, speaking of Atlanta, I went to Atlanta like 2 summers ago and I didn't
on.
have a great experience because
Hmm.
Yeah, man. I went there to, go to the what is it? What do they have? They have Margaritaville like downtown
Yes.
Atlanta.
Mhm.
That was nice. Cool experience there. I
Mhm.
recommend that place. But I didn't know that you can't be out after like 9 o'clock in Atlanta
It
because there's
depends
a
on
huge
where.
homeless population
Yeah,
downtown and they
it
was
is.
harassing me, man. Like I didn't that was a lot for me to take in.
Yeah, it depends on where you go. You
Mhm.
gotta be in the city. You can't just be here and there. You gotta be where people are. Like, the
Yeah.
Battery is a good place to be. I don't know
Mhm.
where you were.
Well,
What
I
were
was at Margaritaville, which is right across from the Coca-Cola Center and
right,
the
so no.
aquarium.
Yeah, no.
I know that now, and I hadn't been to Atlanta since then, probably like since 2014. So you talking about 2014 to what 2024, 2025? Like I was like, I'm not coming back
Mhm.
because I was like, oh my god, this is a little bit much,
Yeah, you
but
go to the Coca-Cola Museum and you get out before the sun goes down.
I should have told you I was out there. Like I should.
2 years ago? Yeah, I was here. I've been here now for 6 years. I moved here in 2020.
Wow.
So, I moved here in
Wow.
the height of COVID and came here and got COVID.
Oh god. I got COVID too, too many times, more times
Yeah,
than I want to say how many
yeah, yeah,
had
yeah, I'm
had it
glad
too
that's
much.
over. That was tough. But yeah, so Philadelphia born and raised, but Philly is a little crazy too. So, you know.
I love Philly though. It's always a good time in Philly. How was
Yeah.
it growing up there?
Growing up in Philly had its ups and downs. I can say when I was growing up, things were good. That
Mhm.
was in a time where your neighbors looked out for you. It was a real community, block parties, um, Saturday morning cleanup.
Yeah.
However, you did have to fight.
Oh, that's
You did.
terrible.
You did. I mean, not it wasn't like a regular thing, but that was back when people fought. They didn't shoot, they didn't kill,
Mhm.
so if it was a fight, you got in the street and you got a fair one, and your parents
Mm.
or your siblings were around to make sure nothing went down, but yeah, it was
So it's
it
like a normal day compared to Friday. Friday the movie.
Yes, yeah, sometimes I mean, because if you think about it, you on a normal day would see a person that's on drugs.
Mm.
You would encounter people, drug dealers back when I was growing up in the
Mhm.
80s. Drugs were very, very, you know, that's what was going on. So you either be cool with the drug dealers or you had beef with them. It's
Yeah.
best to be cool with them so that you can look out.
For sure.
Had boyfriends that were drug dealers, unbeknownst to me, but later on in life, that's what I found
Mhm.
out, that they did.
Wow. Yeah.
But yeah, Philly was good to me. But
Mhm.
like I said, it had It's moments. However, I guess was that 6th grade? I think 6th or 7th grade, we moved to Detroit.
Oh, wow.
So that was a big change for me, cause I was, like, middle school, that kinda thing, but
Yeah.
then my mom got sick, so we moved back from Philly, and it was a big difference from Detroit to Philly,
Mhm.
but that's what made me love Philly more because when I came back, the friends and, neighbors that I had still embraced me and still,
That's
you know,
good.
show love, but yeah, I had that experience as well, so.
How was it in Detroit, if you don't mind me asking? Were you there for, like, a brief time, like, only for a few
We
years?
were there for a couple of years. Detroit was so different.
Mhm.
Um, I can say school. So let's just talk about school.
Okay.
The school was very small. Coming from Philadelphia, going to a school where it was multiple floors.
Mhm.
Detroit, it was one floor.
Oh,
You
okay.
and Atlanta is like that too. Most of the schools are just one level, and
Mhm.
then the lunchroom was the gym. So a
That
lot
sounds
of
like my
times,
elementary, yeah.
yeah, I had gym after lunch. So we were in charge of a part of our gym was putting up the tables.
Wow.
And for gym, I remember here in Philly, well, not here because 'cause I'm not there, but in Philadelphia, we wore gym suits and we had
Mhm.
real gym where we ran. In Detroit, it was line dancing.
What? I've never even heard of that.
It was like swing your partner, do-si-do, and all that stuff. That's what we did at gym.
Oh, man.
So it was
So
my
just a
first
big party.
experience with line dance. Just to say, and it was so eye-opening, like, "Oh, this is really what they do?" You know? So
Mhm.
that was eye-opening. Detroit at that time was very, very big on recycling.
Oh, okay.
So, well, where I am, you have your recycle bin and you put your recyclables in there. In
Mhm.
Detroit, people collected the recyclables and took them to get the money. So that was something big that they did there. So it was like, make sure you separate those recycles. It was like a big thing. So yeah, but it was no public transportation. Philadelphia is big on public transportation.
Mhm.
So you had to drive everywhere. The house that I lived in, which was a different experience, was one floor. It was
Mhm.
no upstairs, downstairs. So I felt like everybody was like close together.
Yeah.
But it was weird.
Okay.
It was because that like my friends lived far. And in
Yeah.
Philadelphia, my friends live close. I had a
Yeah.
friend who every day either I would knock on her door to jump rope or she would knock on my door.
Aw.
But in Detroit, we had to walk miles to go to our friend's house.
It seemed like you were living in a rural area in
Okay.
Detroit or outside of
Probably
Detroit?
probably so. Probably so, because and since living there, I haven't been back, so
Mhm.
that was the
Okay.
only part of Detroit. And from what I know, we were in Detroit, Michigan. I don't know what
Wow.
part or what neighborhood, but
Mhm.
that was the only time.
Dang,
Lived
it sound
lived there
country.
and left. Yeah, yeah. So
So how did growing up in those different environments impact who you are today?
I would say it made me, respect and appreciate family and the closeness of friends. Cause to this day, um, there's still some people who I grew up in with the neighborhood, and they're like my cousins.
Mhm.
They're not just, like, "Oh, that was my neighbor," you know? So, I think I appreciate that more. Like, now living in the South, my neighbor even now, like, my neighbor is about a mile away. They're not close.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I barely see my neighbors. I live in the country here in Georgia. I don't live
Okay.
in the city. So, yeah, my neighbors had chickens, all kinds
Wow.
of stuff going on, so and I think that's what I miss about Philadelphia. is being able, because when I lived in Philadelphia, say right now I wanted to go to my best friend's house, I would
Yeah.
just get in a car and drive 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Now, my friend who lives here, easily 20 minutes, a half an hour to get to her house, and we live in the same town.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's definitely a lot to handle.
it is.
When
It's
you're used to having your village right there. And,
right there. Yeah. So, it's a big
now,
difference.
having conversations with you over the years, I definitely picked up that you're like education is like a priority for you. Clearly,
Yeah.
you just brought it up in the first few minutes of our conversation. Was it a priority in your household growing up?
It was. So, in my household, I grew up Muslim. I grew up
Wow.
Muslim, both of my parents were Muslim,
Mhm.
and we did a lot of things differently, growing up, so
Can you give us some examples?
yeah, so both of my parents were very involved in the Nation of Islam. Are you familiar with the Nation of Islam with Louis Farrakhan and
I do. We have some people, like, across the well, she's not across well, actually next door, but
okay,
I don't know it so I don't personally know anyone who's Islam
okay,
or, like, who's, is in that community, but I
okay,
do have neighbors who are.
okay.
Yeah.
So, um, what happened is on Fridays is like, Christians go to church on Sundays, on
Mhm.
Fridays, Muslims go to the masjid to pray. Um,
Oh, okay.
yes. So, but on Saturdays for us, because my parents were heavily involved, we would get on the bus and we would go to New York a lot. That was
Okay.
like our Saturday routine. My mom would pack us up sandwiches, probably the cold fried chicken, some potato salad, a cooler, and we were on the bus to New York, and so we would sing songs, and for us, it was like, it was normal at first, but once I got older, and of course, Islamic people cover up. You have
Yes, yes.
as a woman, you wear, a
A
khimar,
hijab? Oh,
a
okay, I'm
hijab.
sorry.
It's a lot of different names, khimar, hijab. You wear, the long, um I'll just call it's not a dress, but that's
Yeah.
what you know. And then so as I got older and I wanted to express myself, I didn't wanna do that anymore. So I kind of
Mm.
rebelled against my parents.
How did that work out for you?
Um, for a while, my mother allowed me to wear regular clothes like jeans and a shirt, but I still had to wear my hijab, my
Mhm.
khimar. I still had to wear that for a while. But I think once I got around probably 14, once I went to high school, um, she let me be more free,
That's
um,
good.
wear my hair out, that kind of
Mhm.
thing. So, but that was just the start of it because I lost my mom at 14. So after
Mm.
that, it was like we were on our own. And the crazy thing about it is, although we spent a lot of time going to New York and it was they were called the Fruit of Islam. That's who my
Mhm.
parents were involved with. We also
Okay.
spent a lot of weekends at my grandmom's house, my dad's mom house.
Yeah.
And we also had a neighbor who babysat us. Both of them were Christian, and they always
Mm.
took us to church. So,
They probably felt like it was their duty, like, "We gotta get them out of this religion. Come
my
over
well,
here."
my grandma, my dad's mom definitely felt
Mhm.
like that. She didn't agree with it.
Mm.
So, that was the thing too. On Sundays, we weren't wearing a kimar. We were putting on Sunday dresses, church
Mhm.
in the kitchen, getting our hair straightened, that kinda thing.
Yeah.
So, it was confusing.
That
What
is
do
a
I
lot.
wanna do? Because on Fridays, I'm praying in the masjid where the women have to enter separately than the men, that kinda
Mhm.
thing, and then on Sundays, I'm going to a church where everybody's sitting together, everybody's praying together, sometimes they tell you to hold hands, and
Mhm.
my grandmother also had us on a choir, so
Oh, wow.
it was tough. And then after my mom and dad separated, my mom went through, I don't know, but some Jehovah Witnesses came one day and knocked on our door,
Oh, man.
and she invited them in. Next thing I know, we had Jehovah Witnesses at our house studying with us. So it was very confusing. So
Interesting. Man, so you know a little bit about a lot of stuff.
I do. I do, thanks to my parents, but with all of that education, it was always no matter what you had going on before you can do anything else, you had to do your homework. And I grew up in an era where we had to get our homework signed.
Me too.
It
Me too.
wasn't just getting it signed, it was checking it, making sure things were correct. It wasn't no
Mm,
sloppy handwriting. Back then, we wrote in cursive, so,
mhm. Same
you
here.
know, you had to have things together, and any little thing, if it wasn't neat or whatever, my mom will always make us go back and correct that because she's like, "You're representing me,"
Yeah.
and you know, so education was really big. Actually, and it's sad to say, but my older sister had graduated high school with a full scholarship to, I believe,
Wow.
the University of Michigan, and she had planned to be a surgeon, but she got there, she started partying, and she dropped out.
Oh,
But
I'm
she
sorry to
she
hear that.
still no, it's her life, but the thing about it is my sister was so smart. We all went to the same high school. All of my
Mhm.
sisters went to the same high school.
Mhm.
And my sister was so smart that that's how they treated all of us. "Oh,
Wow.
that's your sister?" Yeah, so it was like, now I gotta be smart because y'all all know my sister, and
Yeah.
my sister was on a mock trial team at the high school. I was too, but
Mhm.
the teacher who ran a mock trial team wanted me to be on the team because of my sister, so
Based on your sister's grades, because
yeah.
everybody's gonna be making straight A's.
Right, and my sister took the mock trial team to, like, the finals. I
Wow.
believe they won,
That's
so that was
awesome.
another thing too, and so she made, like, this big name, and then because we had the distinct last name
Mhm.
L-E-L,
Mhm.
everybody knew us, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So,
Yeah.
that was the we didn't ask for that, but that's where, we were put because of
Those
her.
was the cards that was handed to you.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. I was gonna ask you, like, who's responsible for instilling that in you, like, the education portion? But clearly it's your mother.
My mom. My dad was smart too, but my dad was more street smart.
Mhm.
He was more
Which is
street
what's needed too, you
right,
gotta figure
right.
out
Well, yeah,
things.
yeah, my dad, he was book smart, but he instilled when you're out in public, you should be paying attention to this, and he taught us to
Mhm.
never walk with our head down and always be proud of who you are and represent yourself, and as a lady, these are the things that you should be doing. So, the street smarts and the
Aw,
book smarts both came in handy. Yeah.
that's awesome.
Mhm.
Now, I'm glad you brought up your sister, so it's a good transition into this next question. Um, what's your opinion on how people can grow up in the same household with good parents and maybe one or two siblings turn out crazy and then everyone else makes good decisions in their adult life? What is your opinion on that?
Well, here's the thing, because my parents started out good, and this is no but they didn't things didn't end good. So, just to, briefly say, both of my parents ended up doing drugs.
I'm
They
sorry to hear
did.
that.
Yeah, my mom got introduced to crack, and so
Mhm.
she went through a phase of that, and later on, my dad got introduced to it, and he went through his journey, taking nothing away from their parenting, because
Yeah.
my mom still she was a functioning at one time, she was a functioning drug addict. My mom always worked 2 jobs,
Mhm.
and my mom will walk to work because we say we lived at 42nd Street, my mom's
Mhm.
job was at 30th Street.
Maybe, maybe.
Okay.
Is that where the train station is? Like the
Yes,
bus station? Yes,
yes,
I
the
have. I
train
have.
station. So my mom worked close to there, so she will walk every day from 40 twice because she worked at the bank during the day, so she
Mhm.
will walk there and walk home. Then she would always cook dinner, and then she would walk back to there was a McDonald's in 30th
Mhm.
Street Station that she worked at nighttime. So,
Wow.
that's the kind of and that's where I get my work ethic from because I always thought of
Yes.
my work, you know what I mean? But so to say they were good when they were good, but they weren't always good.
Mm.
But the thing of living in the same household, a lot of things that I remember, and I have a very good memory. People tell me that all the time, like, "You remember that?" But my sister's perspective, I remember a lot of things that we went through, but they don't.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
even now, my younger sister, the way that she remembers things and the way that my mother's death affected her, it didn't affect me the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we all have a different perspective on how our life went. And I think that my mother, and like I said, she wasn't perfect. And before she got introduced to drugs, she was a great mother. But
Mhm.
if you talk to my sister, everything was horrible. Everything was bad. But I can say that I don't think any of us and um I have a lot of siblings, but that I grew up in a house with, it was 4 of us, 4 girls my mom had. So I
Mhm.
have 3 sisters, and if you talk to all of us, our stories are gonna be different, but I don't
Mhm.
think any of us turned out bad.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
so good to hear.
yeah.
And before we get off the subject of your mom and your dad, were they able to recover from that, go to rehab?
So my mom did recover. However, through her journey of using, she developed a lot of health issues, and eventually, the health issues are what led to her death. My dad, yes, he was able to recover up until he passed away. And he passed away in 2021. So
Mm.
my mom passed away in '94, but he passed away in 2021. But up until he came into some health issues, he was in recovery. So
That's good.
a
That's
lot of
good.
people who are recovering, they recovery is a lifelong
It
um
is.
process. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
godfather is in recovery, and it's like been 37 years. I think
Mhm.
his clean day was like a few days ago. So
Yeah.
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 I know how that is.
Right.
Um, but thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that.
Of course.
I mentioned you're a therapist, and so
Yeah,
you counsel people as a
I
career.
do. I do.
How was therapy viewed when you were younger?
It was accepted. So, okay. Long story short, there was a time in my life where my dad wasn't there because
Mhm.
not to go into a lot of detail, my dad abused my mom, and because of that,
Mm,
he got sent to jail. So he wasn't
mm,
around for a while. But when he came back, um I was afraid of my dad just because of all the stories that I had heard, and I
mhm,
didn't wanna be around him. But one
mhm.
day, I was acting up in school, and my mom called my dad because I wasn't listening to
Oh.
her.
Ooh.
My dad gave me a beating,
Oh, man.
and the beating was so horrible, and I felt bad, and I wrote this letter.
Mhm.
And the letter was saying that I didn't wanna live anymore, and I took a whole bunch of Tylenol, and I went to
Oh,
sleep.
no.
But I gave the letter to my counselor, not
Mhm.
knowing that it was gonna be a whole big thing.
Yeah.
So, long story short, um, I ended up back in Philly. We have a place called Children's Hospital,
Mhm.
and back in the day at Children's Hospital, there used to be a place called the Child Guidance Center,
Mhm.
and so I got sent there. I stayed there, I think, for about 1 or 2 months, and a part of that program, we had to do family counseling. So
Okay.
all of my siblings, my mom, my dad came to counseling and, the facility wanted to figure out how they can support me and, if my siblings felt the same way, things that were going on at home. So it was accepted. And then of course, while I was there, I did individual counseling. So
Okay. Do you
it
feel like
was
that helped you and your family?
It did.
at
It
that time,
really,
yeah.
really did help us, because I think sometimes as parents don't, especially back when I was growing up, it was like, um you can talk, but certain things you were not allowed to say or express how you were feeling. You
Yeah,
were, it was like to a certain extent you could say, "Well, this is how I feel," but you weren't allowed to say, "Well, I'm angry and I don't
right,
like when you did this and I don't like when you did that." So I think that family counseling helped my parents to understand it's okay to allow your children to express themselves and understand what they're feeling because they're humans too.
right, right.
So I really believe that it did help. It did.
I see an issue with even today is like we expect our children to have like emotional intelligence. You'd be like,
Mhm.
"Don't you cry, you better suck it up." When
Right.
you yourself, you be ready to go off at
Right.
the waiter when you're out to dinner. So how
Mhm.
could you expect an 11-year-old, 12-year-old, 16-year-old to, take care of their emotions when you
Right.
can't even take care of yours as an adult? So
Mhm. Yeah, it was
honestly, I wish therapy was taken more seriously.
yeah. It wasn't I don't I'm not glad that I did that, but in a sense I am because it did help my family and it did help me. Because if
Right.
I didn't experience that whole thing, we would have never gotten, family counseling or individual counseling. Not that it was shunned, but it wasn't sought out either.
Right, right. Oh,
Mhm.
and when I said I'm glad y'all did that, I'm solely talking about the therapy.
No, no,
I wish
no,
you
no,
did.
no. I understand. I'm saying personally
Yeah,
that
yeah,
I think that was something that needed to happen in
yeah.
order for us. Cause like I said, if that wasn't the case and I
Mm,
didn't wanna kill myself, I just was so hurt, and
yeah,
so I was upset with my mom, like, "How could you do this?" That kinda thing. So I wanted
yeah,
to be away from the environment, and that's what I did tell my counselor. I don't wanna be it's not that I wanna leave the earth, I don't wanna be here.
yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
One more question I got about your family. After you left the children's hospital and you were you and your parents reunited? Were y'all all still in the same household or
Oh,
did you
yeah, we were
Okay,
still in the same household. The whole
that's
time
good.
that I was there, they were allowed to come visit and spend time
Okay,
with
that's
me.
good. That's
I
good.
got home passes and stuff like that, so it wasn't like I was disconnected from them. They
Mhm.
were there throughout the whole journey. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. Now, once you got into high school, what were your goals? Were you planning to go to college and become a therapist, or what were you thinking about at that time?
When I got to high school, I was planning to become a lawyer, actually.
Wow. Okay, that's cool.
'Cause I have a cousin in my family, and he's
Mhm.
a prominent lawyer in Philadelphia, and he does a lot of activism work in the
Yeah.
city of Philadelphia. So, that's who I wanted to be like, honestly, I
Mhm.
wanted to be a lawyer like my cousin. I
That's
didn't
what's
I
up.
therapist, social worker was not on my radar at all. But what happened was when my freshman year of high school is when my mom passed away, right?
Mm. Mhm.
And so how everything happened, my sisters and I, we didn't get any therapy, and we should have.
Mm.
And we did have people who came to the house and talked to us, but it was like a one and done thing. And
Yeah.
so when we didn't get the help we need, that's where I transitioned. And that's where I was like, I think I want to help people who are going through the same thing that I'm going through. Cause I realized that there was a need for more help. And at
Yeah.
the time, I was the kid. I didn't know how to reach out for that help.
Right.
So that's when the change shifted. And I was like, what can I do? And I started researching, and the first thing that came up was a social worker. So that's what
Okay.
I, aspire to be. I want to be a social worker so I can help people. But there were people who put in my head, oh, social workers take kids. That's what they do. They
Mm.
don't help
Mm.
kids, they take kids.
Yeah.
So had to do more research. But going through high school, I knew that's what I wanted to do. Going to college, I did get my bachelor's in social work because I had did my research and that myth was busted for me. No, social workers don't take kids. That's not what they do.
Yes,
So,
we like
yeah.
to put out that disclaimer out there.
Yes. Yes.
All right, this next segment is called Digging Deeper. During this segment, I'll ask you some thought provoking questions more about your personal life and your career. So, are you ready to dig in?
Of course, let's dig in.
All right. So, you said you got your bachelor's degree in social work.
Yes,
Did you get a job in social work coming
I
out of
did.
college?
I did.
Okay.
Woo. My first job. So, another thing. So, I never resolved my grief.
Mhm.
Never, right? So that was always something that just was on my mind. I went tried to go through life without my mom. I did have my dad, but my dad had moved on. My dad had been moved on. He was with another woman. And
Mhm.
so I just had a lot to just carry through life.
Yeah.
So straight out of high school, I tried to go to college. I went to Temple University and unfortunately, I didn't finish.
Mm.
So I got a job, and at the time I was living with my dad, things weren't going well. So I got a job. The job was paying well. I wanted to move out, so that's what I did. I
Okay.
worked because I felt like I couldn't do both. I couldn't work and go to school and pay bills. So I worked and dropped out of school. Um,
Mhm.
and so I got this job. It was a medical billing job. It paid good. So I was like, I don't need to go to college. I could just I could just work this job because the money was good. But
Yeah.
then layoffs came, and that was the first
Ah.
time I experienced that was my first big girl job. I
Mhm.
had jobs before at sneaker stores and stuff like that, but that was my first big girl job. So when layoffs came or when hours got cut short and my paycheck was short, I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, maybe I do need to go back to school."
Yeah.
So, it took me a while to get back into school, but then I did go to community college and get the credits that I need, and then eventually I transferred to LaSalle University. So that's where I ended up getting my bachelor's degree from. Yeah.
Okay. As a therapist giving out advice, has any of the advice or situations you've been in while giving the advice ever triggered you? And if so, how do you take care of yourself when something like that happens?
Okay. Yes. Um Another one of my jobs was this after was I in no, I was in grad school, and a job that I had was in drug and alcohol. That was very triggering for me because my parents,
Yeah.
experienced that. But this was the recovery side of it. There were people coming in who were going through withdrawal, people still actively using but wanted help. It was all different kind of situations. And there were people who came through those doors that I knew
Mhm.
personally. So what we're taught is that if you know somebody or if a situation triggers you to let your supervisor know, and your supervisor will take you off of that case or out of that environment. So that's what I had to do. I had to be real with myself because at first it was like, no, you can do it. This is just a
Mhm.
part of what you got to deal with, trying to talk myself into it. But
Mhm.
one morning I woke up dreading having to, deal with that. So I had to be honest with myself and I had to let my supervisor know this situation is triggering me and can you
Yeah.
please move me to, another case and everything. So yeah.
Okay. What's one of the biggest challenges you've faced so far as a therapist?
The biggest challenge I faced so far is having a suicidal client. That is very, very tough. Having a client and now telehealth is very
Mhm.
big. Before, when I first started out, everything but before COVID, not to say when I first started out, before COVID, we were all face to face, right?
Yeah,
It
in
was
person.
telehealth and you came to someone's office.
Right.
Now we're telehealth. So imagine just like you and I are someone telling you, I don't want to live. Um, I got a knife. I think Imma just go, and so that's tough.
Mhm.
And I did that when I first moved to Georgia. That's the work that I did. I worked for a crisis hotline where people
Wow.
called in who were suicidal, and I would have to talk them into, you know, "Where's the knife?" or "Where's the gun? Please, put it in a safe place. Who's there with you?" That kinda stuff, and it was hard. It was really,
Mhm.
really hard because, again, you're over the phone or you're via telehealth, you don't really know what they're gonna do, and
Right,
then
right.
once you hang up that phone, you still worry about that person. Did they go hurt themselves? Are they okay? So that's very, very tough to deal with in this field. And I think it'll continue to be tough because, again, you don't know what happens after you hang up the phone. Sometimes you can get the person to, um, hey, can I call 911 for you? Or who can I call to come there with you? But sometimes people don't want that. So you still continue to worry about them. Yeah.
So what do you do to help yourself deal with those thoughts of the people that you've helped that you don't know if they've done anything to themselves after that?
So every day when I'm say close my computer screen because that's what I do now.
Yeah.
I pray and I ask God to help anyone that I wasn't able to help effectively. I ask God to take anything off of me that I'm not supposed to bear, that I'm not supposed to think about or worry about anymore. And I also say if there's anything that you want me to further explore or do, please bring it, let me know what I need to do. So every day before I close my computer screen, that's what I do, and sometimes I get the urge to open it back up, or something might say, "Well, call such and such and see," or send them a text and just check on them and see how they're doing. And then sometimes I just close the computer screen and go off to do my own self-care.
Wow. Okay. Well, speaking of therapy, what are your thoughts on Miss Cheyenne Bryan calling
Oh
herself
gosh.
a doctor, even though she's only obtained an honorary doctor? Because you are a therapist, and I don't see you calling yourself a doctor. You know what I'm saying?
I don't have my doctorate degree, so and I'm not looking to get it either. I did aspire to get it, however, when I looked at the income difference and, I can do this I could open up a business, I could open up my own practice without a doctorate degree. Why would I go and have to write a dissertation to get maybe $5 more on my
Yeah.
salary? It's not worth it,
At
right?
all, especially the freaking debt that's coming along with it.
Right, right. The only thing is that I will be able to prescribe medications, which I'm not a big fan of
Mhm.
medications really, so not really a big deal. But Miss Cheyenne Bryant, she could've continued to do the work that she did. I think she made the mistake of doubling down
Yeah.
and calling herself a doctor. I think that's where she went wrong because all throughout my master's program, throughout school, one thing that we were taught is to do no harm, and she's
Mhm.
harming people because which is why as therapists, we cannot tell people what to do. We can advise you, but
Mhm.
if you were my client and I said, "Sharice, you need to leave that man. Don't go home to him," right? And you go home and you say, "Well, my therapist Shellih told me to leave you." And he turns around and he does something to you, then I'm at fault, and I'm in the middle of the court case because the last thing you told him was, "My therapist Shellih told me to leave."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we're accountable for things that we may tell clients, which is why we cannot say, you need to do this. Do this right now. You gotta be careful what you say to clients because they trust us.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
even though we don't tell them directly what to do, they still say, "Well, my therapist said, my therapist said." You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So
yeah,
you have to be careful, and if she's doing this and there's nothing wrong with calling yourself a life coach or whatever you want to say, and she can do that. But if you're telling people things and they're in a vulnerable state, say suicide, and you
yeah,
tell them something and then they go and hurt themselves, then you're accountable. So you have to really, really be careful what you say to people, how you say it. And so I think that's for me going through school and going through everything that, I had to go through. I think that's people's beef with her, is just
mhm,
don't call yourself a doctor. It's
yeah,
okay if you got an honorary doctorate, but a lot of people that have honorary doctorates aren't going around calling themselves Dr. Brian or Dr. Jones,
right.
you know? And then to say, "I have a degree and I'm not proving it to anybody," that's what makes you look crazy because if you have the degree, then why not prove it?
Yeah, yeah, especially t at least to your clients, show them.
Right, right,
Yeah, and I think people also don't realize that an honorary doctorate is an award. It is
right.
not,
Not
you cannot go use this to go get a job, which is
right.
literally what she's doing, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
And she, um, from what I hear, charges an enormous amount. And
Yeah, she said that the reason why she didn't get her license is because it's like, it would affect the amount of money she makes.
so if you're licensed, um, here's the thing, and that's BS because most people who go to school, why wouldn't you wanna get licensed, right? If you're licensed, you can accept insurances, you could do whatever you want, you could be self-pay. But
Yeah,
self-pay does make a lot of money. Self-pay, you don't have to do progress notes. Self-pay,
yeah,
you don't have to do treatment plans, because if you accept insurance, these are all the things the insurance need to say this service can continue.
yeah,
But if you're just out here doing whatever you wanna do, and then without and I get it because there are people who don't wanna get licensed because there are rules that you have to follow. You have to get continuing
bingo.
to create education credits, you have standards. But if you're out here just wanting to do whatever you wanna do and say what you wanna say, then that's why you wouldn't wanna get licensed.
Yeah, and I think, like, there's a whole ethics behind it, like, the
It is.
license holds you accountable.
Uh-huh.
"Ma'am, go get your license."
But she can't, 'cause well, I don't know if she has a master's degree. I don't know.
I heard she has a master's degree, but I didn't do all of my research yet to see, like, if she has a master's degree. I know she has a bachelor's and, like I said, she got honorary doctorate and she got a whole bunch of awards that I've seen her, like, post, but I've never
Yeah.
seen, a PhD anywhere
And like I
or a
said,
doctorate or, you know what I'm saying? So
she could be effective, uh, excuse me, in what she's doing. It's just that don't it's disrespectful to the people who work very hard
that part.
to do the work, and now you're coming in and you're saying these things, and then you're doubling down. And other people who went to the school are saying debunking the stuff that she's saying about getting her, degree and your dissertation. If you wrote a dissertation, why isn't it registered? Why can't you just pull it out
Exactly.
all of that?
Now
So
I
that's
did look into it. That part is what I did
okay.
look into. So there's
Oh,
this website you can go to. I think it's called Parchment. And you can go and get all your transcripts. You can even confirm GEDs there.
okay.
So, even she said that after 2 years, like, they
It
no
does
longer had the records, but that's
that's
not
not
true
true.
because I
Okay.
went to a website, so I saw it for myself. So,
Right.
I mean, I did the research on that aspect of it. So, I
Mhm.
clearly, she's not telling the whole truth about what
Right.
she did. And
Right.
maybe she did take in my opinion or in her defense, maybe she did do all the work. She just didn't submit her dissertation to get the degree.
But if you did all the work, why wouldn't you submit it?
I don't know, maybe she was failing. Maybe she started failing and she was like, "Man, I worked too hard." And
This is the
I
thing though. You don't it's no failing. The only thing you would fail is your dissertation would be approved or not approved, and then you would have to go back and, present again. Cause you go through something similar when you're getting your master's degree.
Yeah,
You
I did. I did. I we didn't
so
it wasn't a dissertation, it was a capstone.
capstone.
And I had to
Exactly.
present at the
Present it.
end and it was well, nah, it was definitely a grade for me in my
It
master's
was.
degree
It was a
though.
great but what I'm saying is, even when you're getting a master's degree, if you are not at a certain GPA level, they don't let you register for
Oh,
class.
yeah. That's true.
So,
That's true. Look, I was just trying to figure out something for the girl.
no, she just needs to be quiet, and like I said, sometimes you can still do the work because I know life coaches who I respect.
Yeah.
But they're quiet. They're not making a whole bunch of noise. They're not being disrespectful to people who work hard to get their license and
Right.
get these degrees. So, just do it under the radar if that's what you wanna do.
I feel you on that.
Yeah.
Now, you're also a co-host of the John a podcast. We're
Yeah.
switching gears. We're gonna leave that alone. Can you tell us about that for those who don't know?
Um, okay, so the Join podcast, we've been around for a while. 5
Yes, y'all
years?
have.
Been around for 5 years. Um It started from just a conversation that we were having over dinner. Our friends were with it. They encouraged us to do it. We came up with the name. We figured it out overnight, pretty much. I became
Mm.
a producer, literally learning everything. We started out, it wasn't the best, but we've grown and learned, what we need, how to do things, and here we are. Um, we are on break and I don't know what's to come. To be honest, I don't know. I don't know what next season will bring. If it's going to be a next season, because honestly, Cherise, I'm kind of
Uh-huh.
burnt out. It can
Mm.
be a lot.
I
And
know. You preaching to the choir.
so I don't know. And like you were saying when we were talking, off of here, where do we
Mhm.
go next? I feel like
Yeah.
that's what we need to figure out because,
Mhm.
we're on social media.
Yeah.
We're on YouTube not like we should be, but I just feel like we need to figure out where do we need to go next because
Yeah.
if we're going to be doing this, putting hard work into it, where are we going with it? It has
Right.
to
Right.
now at this point after 5 years, we gotta take it to the next level.
For
So,
sure.
yeah. But the podcast is to uplift women, tell stories of women who are, who have unique experiences, but we also talk to men too, because men go
Yeah.
through things and, um, without women, men can't exist. Let's just put it out there.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So, we like to get their perspective as well, but it's just a podcast to uplift, tell people
Mhm.
stories that you normally wouldn't hear, sorta like how Connect Like Minds puts, stories, great stories about people that you normally wouldn't hear about,
Yeah.
um, just regular everyday people who have unique stories and unique things going on in their lives.
But I think one of the best things about your podcast is that, it's like a safe space to where, you can come and it's like the listener is hanging out with y'all
Mm,
wherever you're at, and I like that, and then on top of that, you guys do clearly you're a little bit different from my podcast, but,
right.
the whole thing where you guys check in, you talk about, I guess, what's trending or,
Mhm,
Amazon finds and just, things like that. I
right.
think that's very different from what other people are doing, and I feel like that's what makes your podcast authentic, so I
Oh,
like it,
well,
and
thank
I hope
you.
more people are gonna come and listen to it because it is good. I hope you guys don't stop, I mean that, It is really good. It's its own thing, and I understand burnout though. I
Yeah.
completely understand that. But
It's just
what they
like
say, persistence is key, so keep going.
it is, but it's just like 5 years, um, and people do listen, but it's and I'm sure you probably noticed too, you just have your regular people. Every now
Yeah.
and then you get, new people, and it is disheartening too because sometimes the guests don't even listen to their own episode.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I got some stories about that I won't share today because I don't wanna take up too much of your time. But I think, when that happens, I don't even take it personal. I'm
Yeah,
just like, "That's on you." Like, you don't
yeah,
think that your interview is good enough for you to go back and listen to or for you to go share it with other people. I used to
right,
get in my feelings so bad because I'm like, "Why isn't this person promoting the interview? Like,
yeah,
why I got you here?" And then a lot of
yeah.
times when I've interviewed people, especially back in the past, now I'm more particular about who I
Who
interview, but
you
when I
interview.
first
Yeah,
started, I was just interviewing whoever I could get.
right,
And
right.
it's like, bro, I'm doing you a favor. I could
Mhm.
go interview somebody else. Like,
Right,
so
yeah.
I totally understand, but I'm in a different space now.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like, I'm just like, I'm not about to be interviewing just anybody. I'm gonna be it's gonna be intentional every time.
of course.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So, thank you so much for coming on today to talk to me and
Of
share your
course,
story.
connect like I said, it's one of my favorite podcasts, and
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
try to listen to every episode, even our episodes. I record them, but I go back and listen to them because
Yeah.
I like to, sometimes when you're in the moment of interviewing somebody, you hear what they're saying, but when you go listen back, you get to have a different you hear different. So,
Mhm. It's true. It's true.
mhm,
Thing I do to go back I go back and listen sometimes when I have the same guest back on. So I listened to our interview the other day when I was
mhm,
coming up with our interview questions.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was such a fun interview. I had so much fun with y'all.
It was, and it seemed like it was so long ago.
For real. That's great. Time really moves fast, man.
It does. It does. So you
Well,
got
before we get off of your podcast stint,
okay.
what is the most important thing that you've learned so far about podcasting?
Consistency. You have to be consistent and not just in recording, but social media is the biggest thing right now to get
Yeah.
yourself out there. So you have to be consistent. You have to post multiple times. It can feel like overkill to other people, but that's the only way you're going to get yourself out there. And
Mhm.
to be honest, with our podcast, we kind of fell off with that and we noticed. And
Yeah.
it was just like that's another thing that I'm just like, if we're not going to be, able to do that. And for me, it was like work picked up and it was kind of like, how you just lose sight of something and then it just doesn't become priority to you. So that's kind of
Yeah.
happened. And it's just like, if I'm not going to do that, then why record for an hour? And you got to promote. You do
Yeah.
on all platforms. You do.
Yep, on every last one of them.
Hmm. You do. So,
One thing that I also notice now is that, like, people may not necessarily go to Spotify or go to Apple Podcasts to listen to your podcast, but a
mhm,
lot of people just like short clips.
they do.
And my shorts on YouTube outperform very well compared to my shorts on Instagram or Facebook.
Mhm. Yeah,
And then
they
every
do.
now and then I'll get like a huge surge in views on TikTok.
Mhm.
So that's something that I've also learned too.
Yeah, people do love shorts because listen, people's attention span, everybody got ADHD now. And
Yeah,
so people that's what TikTok is. TikTok
yeah,
only gives you a certain amount of time. Now they've upped it,
yeah,
but to be honest, with us being on a go and everything that we have to do when we're scrolling TikTok, it's very rarely that you'll sit there and watch a 10, 15-minute video. You want it and you want the information fast. So I
Right, right.
shorts are what's in right now.
And so when you guys come back next season, maybe you guys can do some more shorts or
Yeah,
some shorts, and
yeah.
I think that would definitely bring more people to the platform.
What a great thing is that the platform we use now
Mhm.
breaks it down for us.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
So all you have to do is get it, download it, upload it onto whatever, platform.
Same here. Yeah, I use Riverside as you know we're on.
Mhm.
And so Riverside does that also, but I really like how I can create stuff in Opus Clips, so I've been using Opus
Okay.
Clips too.
Okay, cool.
But either way, I mean, all of it doesn't matter as long as the
Yeah,
shorts get out there, right?
right, right. Yeah.
Now I don't wanna take up too much of your time. I know I keep saying that.
No, we're fine.
Okay, cool. Now you also have many titles. You are an author.
I am.
Can you tell us about the children's book that you wrote?
So I am very big on affirmations, and one of my previous jobs was I worked at the Center for Autism in Philadelphia, and
Wow.
we would have circle time.
Mhm.
Do you know what circle time is?
Yep, it's when you guys, like, go and read the books to the kids, right? During circle
Well,
time? And then you also do I don't know, my mom, she's a teacher, and so
okay,
she had, like, this whole thing up on the calendar. Like, they had a calendar, somebody would go and, like, they would sing a song about the
right.
days of the week and all that. Alright.
Mhm. So
Yeah.
it's that you sing songs and the children get to say words about how they feel and all of that stuff. That's what we do
Mhm,
at circle time. So something that I love that we used to do at circle time is and the adults participate too. But you got to express how you felt for the day. Are you happy? Are you sad? Do you feel good? Do you feel bad? Or whatever.
aw,
So I'm very, very big on affirming. Like if a kid, said they were sad, well, why are you sad? Not just allowing them to say they're sad, but why are you sad? Let's try to
mhm,
make it better. And kids, I believe, thrive off of affirmations. Good
mhm.
job. That is wonderful. That's beautiful. You're amazing. Kids, thrive off of that. So that was something that I know that kids don't get enough of,
Mhm.
and something that I wanted, especially children who can read, to be able to do for themselves. So
Oh,
that
I
was
love
the
that.
whole, yeah, purpose behind that book. Mhm.
Okay. Are you planning to write another book? And if so, what kind?
I am currently writing my autobiography. It's in the
Wow.
works. Yes, and it's
Okay.
been in the works for a few years.
Mhm.
I took a break from it because it was bringing up many emotions and,
Yeah.
a lot of, like, how can I say? It was bringing up emotions, but the emotions were making me bitter and
Mhm.
angry, and I don't wanna say violent, but it made me want to, go get some type of revenge, and I know I can't do that. So I had
Yeah.
to take a break from it just to kind of recenter myself and realize this is the past. There's nothing you could do about it. You gotta heal from it. And I
Yeah.
thought I did heal, but I realized that, it's still an open wound. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And so what I also realized within writing my autobiography is that I'm still alive and things are still going on. So you have
Mhm.
to find an ending. And so I just don't know in what stage of my life that I want to end it in. But let's say within the next year is what
Okay.
we know. Yeah.
That's what's up. So
Yeah.
where can people go find your book that you have, right? You have 2 books or 1?
I have 2 books. So
Okay.
I have a book called Purposeful Positivity, which, long story short, I am a kidney pancreas transplant recipient, and I got that in 2021. So I was on dialysis for 6 years. And
Mm.
throughout that whole journey, something that I realized is you got to stay positive. You got to look at the positive. That, for anybody out there who's going through anything medically, um, you gotta stay positive because if you focus on what the negative and everything that's going wrong, that, in my opinion, that makes you more sicker, even
Yeah.
sicker. But when you try to be positive, you focus on the positive, you look at the positive, that helps you to get through what you're going through. So both of those books I wrote, wow, because when you're on dialysis for for 3 days out of the week for 4 hours, you have to be on the machine that cleans your blood.
Mhm.
And I wrote those books while being at dialysis because I don't watch TV. I stopped watching
Mhm.
TV. So it's
Okay.
just the TV there or you're looking up at the ceiling all day. So I stopped watching TV. So that's what I would do. I would write. And so the Purposeful Positivity book is also sort of like affirmations, but mantras that you can use, on a daily basis. So that's what I ended up doing. I just every day I would practice affirmations to get me through it. And um be nice to the caregivers because they are helping you. And so many people were so mean and and I get it because you're
Mhm.
you're going through these health issues and it can make you angry, it can make you upset, but be nice to the people who, are giving you the care that you receive. So that's how those books came about. It's just from everything that I went through with that situation. So,
Do
my
you
book.
care to elaborate on that time in your life while you were going through that?
Sure. So I went to grad school. I went to grad school from 2013 to 2015. Everything was great.
Mhm.
Uh, what ended up happening is I lost my job, I lost my medical insurance. At the time,
Mm.
I've been diabetic since I was 14.
Okay.
So, taking insulin from 14 all my life, pretty much.
Yeah.
I don't take it now, but all my life. So, I lost my job, lost my insurance, couldn't afford
Mhm.
my medicine, couldn't get state, insurance because they said I made too much money. So I couldn't
Mm.
pay for my medicine, I went without it, and in that short period of time, my kidneys were affected by the diabetes,
Mm.
which diabetes does affect your kidneys,
Mhm.
and, once I got insurance again after that time period of getting a new job and, you gotta wait till your insurance kicks in and all of that.
Yeah.
By the time I went back to the doctor, they said, "You have stage 3 kidney disease." What
Oh.
that mean, I had no idea. But they said, "Your kidneys are failing. These are some of the things that you can do. However, the disease that you have is progressing really, really fast." Before I knew it, I was in stage 4 kidney disease, and um, they told me I had to go on dialysis. The night that all of this happened, I was at my uncle's 50th birthday party and I drank too much.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and so no, it's okay. Now I can look back at it and smile, but the next morning I woke up and my mouth was all foamy. Everything tasted sweet, even water.
Oh my god.
So when you're diabetic, you can go through something called ketoacidosis, and that's what I was in.
Mhm.
My body was in an acidic state and everything was just all out of whack. So
Mhm.
I went to the hospital, I went to the ER, and next thing I know, and because I had the kidney disease, I had a kidney doctor, a nephrologist. And
Mhm.
him and I had a good relationship because he had said to me, "You're gonna need a kidney transplant." He said, "Can you talk to you? Do you think anybody in your family would donate, their
Mhm.
kidneys to you or your church? Are you affiliated with a church or anything?" And I
Mhm.
was like, "No." He was like, "Well, let me know if you want me to help you talk to them and tell them what's going on with you, I will." And I was
Mhm.
like, "Well," I told him, I was like, "Well, diabetes runs in my family. My sister has diabetes. I don't know if there's
Mhm.
anybody that will be able to donate their kidney to me." He said, "Well,
Mhm.
think about it." So him and I had a good relationship. So I go to the ER. He comes in. He's like, "I'm sorry. your kidneys aren't working anymore, so they aren't filtering out your kidneys filter out all the waste and,
Right.
all the things that you put in your body. And he was like, "I'm sorry, that's not happening anymore." So the next phase, which he had told me, is dialysis. So
Mhm.
the next thing I know, I'm being rushed to the OR to put a port in my chest that is gonna give me the dialysis, yes.
Mm.
And like I said, it's not that I didn't know, it's just like, I didn't know it would be this soon.
Yeah.
Mm. So, that happened, um, next day, like I said, you either are on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday schedule for dialysis, but while
Mhm.
you're in the hospital, it's possibly you could go every day. So, next day, they put the port's right here in my heart.
Mhm.
Next day, I'm in dialysis, um, to, get my blood cleansed because that was the necessary thing. Because, like I said, my body wasn't filtering anything out, so I was practically swollen. My legs were swollen,
Man.
my face was swollen, I had all of this stuff going on.
Yeah.
However, I told them, "I wanna work. I wanna still go to work because that's what I've always done. I've always went to work." So they said, "Okay, there's a type of dialysis that you can go on where you
Mhm.
don't have to go to the center every day, you can do it at home." I said,
Mhm.
That's for me." It was
Yeah.
called peritoneal dialysis. So, with peritoneal dialysis, it's a port that goes in your stomach, is connected to something in your stomach called the peritoneal, and that's a little different. You What happens is at nighttime with this port that you have in your stomach, which is easy to hide,
Mhm.
'cause, you put on your pants, you put on your dress, whatever, your
Yeah.
underwear, that's ho it's hidden, so
Okay.
nobody can see it, but this right here,
People can see.
I
Yeah.
couldn't take a shower for 3 months until, um, this
Man.
port healed and all of this stuff. So long story short, I got the peritoneal, port.
Mhm.
However, the surgeon who did the surgery, she left a metal piece inside of me.
Can you
Mhm.
sue her?
So, I tried. I tried, but she had all of these insurances that protected her. However, I will say that the hospital did send me a letter saying that she no longer worked there. So
Oh,
that
okay.
you know what I mean?
Some
So
justice.
right, right, because I did pursue it. Because the next day, they came to check the port to make sure that it was good, and the
Mhm.
technician said, "Do you have on jeans or do you have anything?" I was like, "No, I don't have anything on." She said, "I keep picking up a piece of metal." And I was
Oh, that's
like,
horrible.
"No." So, that's what ended up happening with that. So, there's something else that you can get. It's called a AV fistula, and that's what you use when you go in center because that filters your blood.
Mhm.
So, the doctor talked to me, he said, "We gotta go in and remove this metal piece. You can keep the peritoneal, port in, but we still gotta move this metal piece and your port still has to heal."
Mhm.
But the peritoneal dialysis didn't work for me. It caused me to, because it's a fluid that you use it at night, the fluid goes into your stomach, and that's how
Mhm.
your blood gets cleansed. But when you wake up in the morning, you keep a certain amount of fluid in your stomach, and you keep it in all day to
Mm.
absorb all of the waste and
Mhm.
stuff, and then at nighttime, when you go back on the machine, that pulls out all the waste that you've had.
Okay.
So, that didn't work for me. It caused me to have something called gastroparesis, and that's
Mhm.
um, if you have, like, a lot of sugar in your body, it causes you to vomit and all of this
Mm.
different stuff. So that didn't work for me. So, my only other option was to go in center.
Mhm.
And then center, like I said, you have a different port. So I got that port put in. I still had the chest port. I had to wait for this port to heal. It was a whole big thing. I still tried to
Yeah.
go to work. So what I would do is I went to work during the day and I
Mhm.
went to dialysis at night.
Wow, that's stressful.
Trust me. It was, but I got through it.
Mhm.
However, because I was doing that, it was too much stress on my body and my
Mhm.
body gave out. So I had to stop working and
Mhm.
to strictly focus on my health. So
Mm.
in the process of when I first got on dialysis, I got on a transplant list. Um,
Mhm.
and I was initially only on a transplant list in Philadelphia, but
Mhm.
my now husband, he's my husband now, at the time
Mhm.
we're just dating, he was
Mhm.
already in Georgia. So every
Mhm.
summer or every so often, I would come to Georgia.
Mhm.
Course, I would have to set up dialysis.
Yeah.
So the doctor at the dialysis center there said, "Well, you're here so much. Why don't you get on the transplant list here?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Well, I didn't know that I could do that." And they
Mhm.
was like, "Yeah." So when you're on the transplant list, every month you have to send in blood because they have
Mhm.
to check and make sure you're doing what you're supposed to do, that your labs are good. So
Mhm.
that's what I did. I was on both lists, Pennsylvania and Philadelphia. I got a couple calls for Pennsylvania, but they never panned through. When I came to Georgia, what happens when you're on the transplant list, no matter where you go, you get all the time that you've been on dialysis. So when I
Mhm.
came to Georgia and got on the list, they gave me those 6 years. So technically, I was on at the top of the list. So I
That's good.
yeah, yeah. So I started getting calls, um, and some of those didn't come through a lot. A few times they were like calling me like, "Oh, don't eat anything," and this and that. I started when we started the podcast, I started
Mhm.
getting calls. And so I had
Mhm.
told Janina, I don't know what's gonna happen, you know. I think actually your brother had came on the podcast and he was a guest a few
Mhm.
times while I was gone. Shout out to him for doing that. But that when we first started, we had taken a big break because I got the call. And
Yeah.
actually, the crazy part about it is we were on our way to Philly for 4th of July weekend.
Wow.
And the nurse practitioner and this is so sad, but the nurse
Mhm.
practitioner at the dialysis center, she was like, "I think this is gonna be like, you're gonna get your call this weekend." I said, "Why do you think that?" She was like, "Well, unfortunately, this is sad, but 4th of July, a lot of people lose their lives due to drunk driving."
Yeah.
He was like, "Usually from my experience, people who are at the top of the list, sometimes they get their calls during 4th of July weekend."
Wow.
And I was like, "Well, I hope nobody loses their lives." And she was just like, if people decide to donate their organs and that's what they decide to do, is nothing you could
That
do
you
about
could do
it.
about it, right, it's not.
So July 5th, like I said, I was on my way because I think the way however July 4th fell that week,
Mhm.
I think we celebrated it on that Monday, or it was
Mhm.
recognized on that Monday. So I got the call and they told me to come to the hospital. Again, you can get all the way to the hospital. They can get you to the operating room and the kidney may not be good. But fortunately for me, because like I said, I got a kidney and a pancreas, because what was told to me by the doctor is you'll still have diabetes, and diabetes is the leading cause of kidney failure. So if we
Mm.
can get you both, that'll stop the diabetes, that'll help to preserve the kidney, why not? So that's what
Wow.
ended up happening. I got a, kidney pancreas transplant. It was tough, it was rough, one of the hardest
Mhm.
times of my life, but I got through it, and here I am now.
Wow, that's an amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's woo, trust me when I tell you, because I went through a depression. I was like,
Mhm,
dialysis was not as bad as this, because you have all these tubes and all this stuff hooked up to you, and
mhm,
it was a lot, but you have to go to the doctor every couple of when you first get the and this is with any transplant, a heart, anything, you have to go to the doctor every few days because they
mhm,
have to check your labs to make sure the organs aren't rejected,
mhm.
and then you go once a week. Then you drop down to every 2 weeks. So that in itself can be a lot for a person because they ask you, "Who's
Yeah.
your support system? Are they gonna be there for you?" Because a lot of people get rejected because they don't have a support system.
Oh my god, I didn't even know that.
Yeah,
But
you
it
do.
makes sense because you had needed someone to take care of you.
You do. You
Yeah.
do. You do.
How
And
long was the
shout out
recovery, for that?
6 months.
Dang, yeah, you definitely need somebody there. That is a lot.
6 months, and then it's still ongoing because even now, I still have to go every month and get labs,
Mhm,
and now I still see the kidney doctor regularly, but I see the transplant team. I still see the transplant team, but I just see them yearly, but I still have
mhm.
to go every month and get labs because you're taking anti-rejection medications, and you gotta make sure that your labs are good and that your body is not, because your body can reject, the
Yeah.
organs at any time, and so you still have
Wow.
to go to make sure things are good. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Where
like
do
I
you
said,
see go
shout out
ahead, go
to
ahead.
my husband, my now husband, because he was there. Him and I have been friends for a long time, and he was there with me throughout this whole journey. Even now, he's still here with me. So I appreciate him and I love him so much because he didn't have to. He could have chose to be with anybody. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, shout out to him. Where do you see yourself in 10 years from now?
woo! Sharice, I take things day by day.
Okay,
But in 10 years, I envision myself owning my own practice.
I
Um,
see that.
you know, supporting what I really, really see myself doing and that I want to do
Mhm,
is support women who are going into the field. I want to eventually become a supervisor where I can supervise interns and things like that.
okay.
And so that's my next goal. That's next on my list of things to do. I really want to do that because I also feel like I didn't get what I needed as a young
Mhm,
Black woman coming through this field. To be honest, and there's nothing wrong with that, but the way Black people do therapy and the way white
mhm,
people do therapy is totally different. And I'll
mhm,
say this, I'm sorry if it ruffles any feathers, but it's just totally different. And so a lot of the things that I was exposed to as an intern was white women doing
mhm,
therapy for Black people. And I've had a white therapist, and I
mhm.
stopped going to her because she didn't understand me. And so it's
Yeah.
good to have a therapist, doctors, whoever who understand you and understand your culture. I think that's very, very, very important. So that's something that I want to do. I want to, open a door for younger Black women in the field to have them to be able to get experience because there was a time where there weren't a lot of Black people in the field of therapy.
Mhm.
You had to go to a white therapist or not at all. So, yeah. And
Okay.
also, like I said, owning my own practice, doing
Yeah.
that for, you know, younger Black women who are coming through the field. But I also wanna own a restaurant. I love to cook.
What? I didn't see that coming.
I
Okay.
cook. Before anything, when I was growing up, I wanted to go to culinary school. I did.
Wow. So
But
what do you like to cook? What type of restaurant you opening?
a health food restaurant. I love soul food, but soul food sometimes is not good for us. And
Sure
with
enough not.
everything that I've been through and am still going through, I think we
Mhm.
need more good but healthy food.
Help. Mhm.
You know
Healthier
what I mean?
options. I totally
Healthier
agree with you.
options
Yeah,
where you can incorporate a sweet potato into it, but it doesn't have to be a candy yam. You know
right.
what I mean? You can have some
Yeah.
cornbread, but it doesn't have to have a whole lot of sugar in it.
Yeah.
Those are the
No,
kind
I
of things
agree.
that when I go out to eat, I want to have, but there's no options for them. But I do. I love to cook and, being down here in the South, people think the food is so good, but it's not. To me.
Well, I'm
Philly.
telling you right now, the best place to get food from is Louisiana. I don't
Okay.
care what nobody says.
Okay.
Louisiana's
Okay.
where it's at.
Okay.
But you have your preference too. So back to
Well,
you.
I've never been to Louisiana. I wanna
Oh,
go.
you
I
gotta
wanna
go.
go
You
to New
gotta go.
Orleans, but I've
Yeah,
never been. But for me, Philly has better food than Atlanta.
I agree. I agree with that too, 100%.
Yeah, so I don't know the food. I always wanna go back home because I miss the food and the options
Yeah.
that we have. But, that's something that I wanna do. I wanna open up a healthy, um, place where, like I said, you could come still get good food, but there's healthier options, and so a lot of times when I'm talking to my husband, we're like, "We should open up this and we should do that because he likes to cook too, we both like to cook, and
Mhm.
so that's something that I think him and I together can do.
That's awesome. And it will happen. I'm manifesting it for you. It'll
Yeah,
happen.
so imagine a therapy practice
Mhm.
right here in
Mhm.
the next
Yeah,
door, you could come get lunch, dinner.
that's a vibe.
Coffee, tea. Well, I'm more of a tea drinker, but,
Me too. Me too.
you know. So, yeah.
Okay. Cool. Now,
Yeah.
this next segment is called Uncomfortable Questions. And during this segment, I'll ask you some either or questions. But the catch is you must choose one of the answers and then explain why you're choosing it.
Okay.
So the first one is medication or exercise.
Exercise.
Why?
Medication has so many side effects.
She'll do. She'll do.
I will say you can use medication, but not long term.
Yeah, for
Definitely.
sure.
Exercise has way more benefits that we don't even realize and can cure most things if you move your body. So, definitely exercise. Yeah.
Going to church or reading the Bible. And you can
Reading the
only choose one.
reading the Bible. Reading the
Why?
Bible, church, even if you go to church and the pastor preaches a sermon, you still need to research it in the Bible. Whatever verse he said he came from, don't just take his word that it's saying this, go read it yourself and make sure that's what it's saying.
Okay. Sigma Gamma Rho or Delta Sigma Theta?
Is that even a question? No shade. I love all my D9 family, but I actually took my picture down because I did not want it to be, but it hangs right here. But this
Oh,
Sigma
that's
Gamma
fire.
Rho, a sorority that I have pledged. Shout out to all of the poodle. But yes, Sigma Gamma Rho. But like I said, no shade to my D9 sisters and brothers.
Soul food or steakhouse?
Can I say neither?
You know what? It's your interview, so yeah, you could say
I
neither.
don't, cause I don't eat meat, and so it would be a steakhouse, and I would do soul food, but again, it's not the same
It's bad
anymore.
for you.
Yeah, and this like, I was watching somebody cook mac and cheese, right? And they
Mhm.
were doing all this stuff. They put cream cheese, they put Velveeta, all
Mm.
and I said, "Well, why?" Mac and when I was growing up, when you get your sharp cheddar, your mild cheddar, your white cheddar, right? Your heavy
Yeah,
cream or even
yeah,
milk, your butter, your salt and pepper. What
yeah.
happened?
I don't know, man. I don't know. The millennials took over and was like, "We gonna just" I don't know. They was eating too
Yeah,
many
so
Doritos when they were kids. And that's
yes,
why.
Doritos are bad, but
Mhm. Yeah,
so
I do
I would
not. I
say
don't even
me
eat chips.
good, cause you
Yeah, I
know
don't eat
what?
chips.
chips were my addiction,
Mine
but I
too.
stopped eating. I only eat chips made with avocado oil. So the only
Oh,
thing that
okay.
they can have is potatoes, salt, and avocado oil. Other than that, I don't eat them.
I don't eat 'em, period, because
Good.
high
I'm trying
cholesterol
not
runs in
to.
my family, so I
Okay.
just I
Okay.
just try to watch my health.
Yeah.
I
Understood.
eat Quaker chips, which are rice cakes. They're just
Okay.
small rice
I love
cakes.
rice cakes. I do.
Yeah,
Love
yeah.
rice cakes. I'm trying to not eat potato chips, but I like that crunch.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a guilty pleasure, you
And I
know?
like sweet potato chips too.
I used to eat those. Those are fire.
Yeah.
Last one in this segment, podcast or television? But I already know your answer because you talked about it earlier. But go ahead.
Podcast. I don't watch TV. So I'm
Exactly.
always going to listen to me a good podcast.
All
Yeah.
right. This final segment is called Rants with Sharice. And during this segment, you get to rant about whatever you want. And you've been on here before, so you
Yeah.
already know what the spiel is. So you share your rant, but then you have to give our listeners a solution to the problem. So
Oh, I
go
gotta get the
ahead and share
solution.
your rant.
Okay. My rant is, and I've experienced this several times and I see it all the time and I hear about it from my clients. Give your sister, your friend, the same grace as you do the men in your life who hurt you. Us as
Ooh.
women, we have the tendency to give men chance after chance after chance. As soon as your sister friend, your sister does one thing, you cut them off. And I don't like that. I don't think that's cool. You write them off, you say, "Oh, they never were this, they didn't do this." But that man, he can cheat on you, he can lie to you, have another baby on you, and you giving him chance after chance after chance. So give your sisters, your sister friends who've been there for you before that man came along. Your sister been your sister since birth. Sometimes your sister friend been your friend for 15, 10 years, and you just write her off as soon as y'all have a small fallout or, a minor disagreement or argument. But that man, you keep taking him back 10, 50, 11 times. Stop. You gotta give that same grace to your sister as you're giving to that man in your life. The
All
solution.
right.
You talk
Thank
about
you for sharing that. Somebody gonna get mad at you on that, by the way. Somebody's
it's
gonna be mad.
listen, it's gonna ruffle some feathers, but why do we do that? That's the question.
I
Why?
don't know.
Why
I don't know
why?
why people do what they do, man. It's crazy.
Because I see it on social media. Like I said, I've experienced it where, you know, had to stop being friends with somebody over a small disagreement. But I know things that the man in your life has done, and with no question, you didn't make him do anything different, anything, you've just taken him back. So
Yeah, it's crazy.
why don't we extend that same grace?
I don't know. It's not the same situation, but when I was in during my freshman year of college
Mhm.
in Pennsylvania, um, I was in my apartment and my roommate, well, one of my roommates was chilling with this guy who was
Mhm.
dating my friend.
Okay.
I mean, he was laid up with her and everything.
Mhm.
So I was like, I'm about to go tell my friend, man. And it's early in the morning.
Right.
I get myself together. I walk, and it's probably about a good 2 blocks away. I didn't care.
Mhm.
I walked over there to her. I'm like, yo, this dude is at my apartment right now with my roommate.
Mhm.
Nothing. Like I guess she called him or whatever. He came over, said whatever, said that it was nothing. But
Mhm.
then when I talked to my roommate, she was like, "Oh, I didn't know he was dating her." Like,
Right.
and I was just like, "What? What?"
Mhm.
So anyway, I just realized that I'll stay at my place
Right.
because
And so
people
from
gonna do what
that,
they do.
even when you see your friend husband out with another woman, mind your business because you know
Yep.
what might happen. Your friend is gonna believe her husband rather than you, and she's
Yep.
gonna choose him and his story over what you have
Yep.
to say.
And I've been minding my business
Ever since, right?
ever since then, yo.
Yep. So that's what I'm saying. He could come with you know what you got pictures. But you gonna believe that man. She gonna
Yeah,
believe that man, so you just gotta leave it alone. Yeah.
for real. Well,
So
before you go ahead, go ahead.
the solution is that we have to stop. We have to extend the same grace. And I get it, man, woman, your partner, you even when you're married, you made a vow. But if somebody does you wrong, they do you wrong. And I get it that yes, people do things, but I don't think everything is forgivable. I don't. So we gotta extend grace where it's necessary and extend consequences where it's necessary for everybody.
Yeah,
Nobody should be treated any differently than you know. Because I'm
I
sure
agree.
your sister friend has been there for you and supported you in times where you needed her and will continue to, but you rather cut her off and write her off because she did something you didn't like, which she might have been going through a tough time or having a bad day, and you just
Right.
write her off. So, yeah, that's the solution.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, before you go, can you please share your social media with our listeners? Also, share where they can go listen to the podcast as well as purchase your book.
Okay, woo, that's a lot. Let's see. All right, let's start with the stuff I know. So the podcast, we can be found on Instagram at the_John_podcast. If you click the link in our bio there, it will take you to everywhere that we are. Um, we are on pretty much every streaming platform,
Yep.
Spotify, Apple, Google, so YouTube, even though our YouTube isn't updated, but you can find some stuff there. So we're pretty much everywhere there. We're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, we're on Instagram. I think the only thing we may not be on is Threads, which I don't know how to use. Do you use Threads?
No, but my stuff posts there.
Yeah,
I
it's
made a
stuff
profile and it
posted.
like posts there, but I don't be on Threads.
Right, right,
I
right. Okay.
deleted that app so many times. Like,
Okay. Threads. So yeah, we're everywhere. Then my book can be found on Amazon.com. You can type in my name, which is spelled Shellih, or you can type in purposeful positivity. It'll just pop up with the books that I have. They're available on Amazon, but I do have personal copies if you want your copy signed or anything like that. You can inbox me or text me or however you wanna do things. So on Facebook, I'm Shalia L, Shellih, However, on Facebook, I only accept people that I know.
there we go.
FYI. Because, sometimes you might wanna rant or go off and people now like to screenshot and
Mhm.
that kinda stuff, so I only accept people that I know personal. Let's say I can know you, but if I don't know you personally, I don't even accept coworkers. So,
Me either. I do not accept coworkers.
no coworkers, 'cause I
At
might be hearing
all.
about work and then nah, it'd be too
Yeah,
weird.
yeah, it's a no for me too.
And then my Instagram is Miss Shellih, it's MISSSHELLIH. So that's where you can find me, and I'm on Facebook, Instagram, mostly on Instagram. That's, mostly where I post at. But Thank you for having me. This was so fun. I got to talk about a lot of things,
You did.
about my life and yes, so I really, really enjoyed being here. Like I said, on the famous
Ah,
Connect Like Minds podcast. I'm speaking it into existence because
thank you. Thank you.
it is going to be famous and I'm gonna be able to look back and be like, I was on that podcast years ago. Be able to pull up my episode.
There you
So, yeah,
go.
and I always enjoy listening to the interviews and things that you do, so I love it here.
Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
love coming on y'all's podcast too, and, thank you for your support. I
Of
know Janina's not here, but tell her I said thank you for her support too, like,
Yes,
I truly appreciate it. Y'all are truly my big sisters, and anytime y'all wanna give me advice, I'm always willing to take it.
yes. Well, you know, you sometimes you gotta take advice. And I say that because as a therapist, I give out a lot of advice. And some people are like, you're right," and then some people are like, "Miss Shellih, you think I'm about to do that?" And I be like, "Well, listen, I'm just telling you what I think you should do or how
Yeah.
you can overcome this." So I say take advice. You know yourself. You know
Yeah, for
what
sure,
you're capable of, and that's what we have to do. We can't do things outside of our limitations sometimes. We gotta, sometimes stay where we know we're comfortable at. So,
for
yeah.
sure. Well, know you're always welcome on this platform, and again,
Mm.
it's a pleasure having you on.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. Like I said, I really, really enjoyed this. So I appreciate you thinking of me to have me on to interview me.
Heck yeah, always.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will see you in the internet streets.
You shall, you shall. And thank you for listening to Connect Like Minds.